Hey guys, happy almost Halloween. I love this holiday. I have a Batman costume for my cat that I'm so excited about. I don't know if he's going to fit into it. He's kind of a portly little dude because he has asthma. And so I have to give him this inhaler twice a day. And I also give him his medicine. And in order to get that medicine down, I have to give him these like soup broth treats and snacks. So he really milks that. And yeah, he's getting up there in weight. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So I'm just hoping that he fits in this costume because it's so cute. And if I do squeeze his little sausage body into this thing, I will definitely be back on here to show you guys that. All right, let's check in on the energy. Let's see. What do you, oh, Six of Swords, okay. Getting out of a stressful situation? Jeez, I hope so. Okay, we have the Hanged Man and the Knight of Wands. Yeah, this is kind of what it feels like. It feels like we're coming out of something a little sticky. Which reminds me of the yeast starter download I got this morning, which I have to tell you guys about. I will in a second. Yeah, we're coming out of something, and we're observing and trying to figure out like, how do I cut my losses here and make something of this situation? Look at it in a different way. Look at our approach to it in a different way. And then Knight of Wands, I mean, yeah. And then right from that, right from the Hanged Man to the Knight of Wands, you know, like fast moving action and passionately towards what, I'm not sure. Let's see. Two of Wands. Strategy, planning. I know that I can make this work. I might need some help. Let's see. Let's pull one more card. And then I'm going to tell you about my yeast starter download. All right. Nine of Pentacles. I feel like collaboration is really important right now. And what's really the irony about that is just that I feel like people are a little bit keeping to themselves. Like being mindful that it's I wanted to say tense climate. And that's has so many meanings to it that I don't want to analyze right now. But I just think that, you know, there's some heavy, dense energies floating around right now. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but that's happening. And we don't like the way that feels. But, you know, you can't always just like escape these things. I mean, especially if you're like being attacked or you're personally affected, you know, let's say, you know, God forbid you have family that are dealing with this weather. Or a number of different things, you know, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you might be safe, but like, are you? Like, if people that you really care about are not okay, or people depend on you. So like, how do I make this work without losing myself in it? And it's like, I know, like I need to do something different than I'm doing now. And I think that the Two of Wands, and I know I need to plan. I can't just, you know, go with the flow right now. I have to have a plan of action so that I know that this is going to go somewhere good. You don't want to leave it up to other people, but you also need certain other people. And being very discerning about that, about who you want to share your feelings with, who you want to share your projects with, who you want to work around, who you don't. Because you know that if you get it right and you have the right work-life balance, or you have less work and more time to be with your family or to work on hobbies or other pursuits, right, that aren't about paying the bills, like, how do you do that? I think that so many people are thinking that right now. I mean, this is not like channeling. This is just like, I mean, I'm looking at the economy. I'm looking at what's going on politically. I'm looking at what's going on globally. What's going on with our government, et cetera, in the US. If you're not here, you know, consider yourself lucky. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's that. Because Nine of Pentacles, like, you want to be self-sufficient. You want to be independent so that you have options, so that you can really be the designer of your life in some capacity. Even if it's carving out an hour or two a day, you know, that's really hard for a lot of people who have a lot of responsibilities. You know, even if you're your only responsibility, you might have 4 jobs, you know? So I think that's where we're going. Now, in line with that, I did get this download about this. It was this rubber huge container, like the size of a garbage can. I know exactly what it was. It was from an artisan bread bakery that I worked at circa 2001. And I worked with this very quirky baker who had gotten some fresh yeast starter that was from the early 1900s. It had been kept alive all of that time and passed down, and he got it from like a chef, professor, dude, whatever, that he trained under. And he was very protective of this yeast starter. It was in the basement of this bakery that I worked at, and he didn't let anyone else touch it. So, you know, I was not allowed to feed this thing. But I mean, in the morning at like 5 a.m. when you were like, you know, making all the loaves, I mean, baguettes, ciabatta, peasant loaves, Kalamata rosemary loaves. My favorite, which was the chocolate orange bread, which was like candied orange zest with Valrhona chocolate, which is like this really fancy chocolate that bakers use. Dark Valrhona chocolate with candied orange zest. And the bread was chocolate. And then there were chocolate chunks in the bread it was just amazing. We also made like a walnut cranberry one that was walnut cranberry whole wheat. So good. Anyway, but yeah, every loaf was precious, and you know, there was a certain amount of this yeast starter that would go into every single loaf, like a little piece of it. You would like cut it off of this big blub, 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 like thing, and you would make a batch, you know, one batch, another batch, and then you would have to feed this yeast starter, or I wasn't allowed to, but baker would feed the yeast starter water and flour. And it's like this organism. It's got like its own, I don't know, its own environment. It's got to stay alive. Somebody had to nurture that thing every day to keep it alive. So it's treated very preciously. So I'm like, why am I seeing this? Okay, so I think it's about what you turn your attention to and what you feed. Like, what's important to you. And this is about the law of attraction. This is about manifestation, but it's like, where do you choose to put your energy? Because that will grow. And if you don't like something, well, you might not be able to get rid of it, right? I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes. But don't feed it. Don't give it flour and don't give it water. And it won't grow, you know? And I think that's something, you know. I hope that's meaningful to someone. Yeah, all right, so that's the message for today. We have a little bit of Frida Kahlo. Did we talk about Frida Kahlo? I pulled this message card before we started. So I always feel like it has a message behind the message, behind whatever the cards are. And this is like my individuality card when I think about Frida Kahlo. I think about her being this, you know, Latina woman way before her time, who was a very provocative artist. She was comfortable with her body, her sexuality. She was comfortable with her anger. And the coolest thing about her life is just that she has this art that she's left behind. So she's left a legacy. She's really badass. And she rocked a unibrow, you know? I mean, she made that work somehow. She made that work for her. I'm telling you that I don't think there was ever a time period where the unibrow was a thing, where people were like, yeah, that's so hot, you know? No, I don't think that happened, but somehow she did it. Like, she didn't care. And that's so cool. So it's like a balance between like your Frida Kahlo side and like you're not Frida Kahlo side. Angel of Balance. Yeah. That's another one that I pulled. Angel of Balance. So, yeah. I mean, it's a balancing act. It really is. I think it just has to do with who you share your energy with and who you give your energy to. I think that's the takeaway from today, because that's what's going to get us all to this Nine of Pentacles place, is like, you got to find your thing. You got to find your people. And when you're in a circumstance that is challenging, because, you know, you may not have the freedom to make all the choices that you want to make in that moment, you just have to take little steps every day to try to get closer and closer to that lifestyle that is going to allow you to step into the world authentically and really put yourself into the world in a meaningful way, where you can show up and also accept other people showing up in their authenticity. You know, loving yourself and knowing yourself enough that you can put yourself aside to be present for someone else too. Because we have to support each other, you know, because it's not easy out there. Anyway, I really hope that you guys have a great day and that you enjoy your Halloween. And I hope that I can get my cat into his Batman costume, because if I can, then I will definitely be back to show you guys that. All right. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.